States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to the August 23rd work session agenda. We've got, Dennis, can you, the residents like to see who's talking.
Right.
If you want to move to the side that way, sit sideways, they can see who's talking.
They want to see you.
That was a
Your
funny
gorgeous
complaint
face.
when we were knocking on doors.
Then you better get somebody else.
Okay, so we're talking about water supply emergency response plan. Gary, what's going on?
Well, basically, I've asked Dennis to come in and give you the details, but after 9/11, in 2002, the federal government passed a law requiring all utilities, not just water companies, all utilities, to not only come up with an emergency response plan for numerous different kinds of emergencies, but using their specifications to do so. And it's required that it be updated every 5 years. What we've asked Dennis and H2M to do is to give us our second update since the law and the emergency plan has been made for Riverhead Water District. And the reason why I'd like to go with H2M is, one, they can do it for about a third or a quarter what we could get from another engineering firm, because they've got our information. The other part is that they've got, I would say, the lion's share of the water companies also here on Long Island, 15 to 20 of them. And the advantage of that is not they can give us in the training of our personnel a good deal, but it gives a common factor in the emergency response plans of that many water companies. So in other words, bioterrorism, somebody comes up with, God forbid, a waterborne version of Ebola, all right? We all will have the same reaction. And this is what something from the Suffolk County Health Department has been looking for.
So we can only hope that their plan is one that is successful.
Yes.
We're all counting on it.
You said the federal
Grab
government
your
wants
Bible and run.
This is a federal mandate, yes.
the federal mandate.
Actually, it was the,
Are they funding anything?
well, they did,
No.
On the original
Another
one, they did.
unfunded mandate.
but that is now unfunded mandate.
That's right.
That is
Say
correct.
another one.
It's actually two separate documents. There's what's called the VA, the Vulnerability Assessment, where we look at all your facilities, and we make recommendations for security. Well, what we do is we look at the weak points of your system from a security standpoint. We make some recommendations, and we come back to the board, and we've been doing that over the last 10 years, slowly increasing the security of our
Well,
plants.
you would think this is something we would want to do in any event, despite the 9/11. I mean, we want to make sure that our water
just
supply is
updating.
protected.
And the emergency
Yeah.
plan, we've actually been preparing the emergency plan for the water district for probably 20 years now. The state health department required, but when this new act, the federal act came out, they wanted to put a different spin on the emergency plan, that you look at
What, an
terrorist
elected
attacks.
official needed a press conference?
Maybe. But two separate documents, and actually both of them are security issues, so they don't get released to the public. We do have to prepare one that is non-confidential, that if the public wants to review some of the content that's there.
There's I don't even know, is that one in my office? I don't
I
think
have.
I've ever read it.
I have the originals in my office.
All right, can I get
drop
a
them off here.
copy? Do you have an extra copy of the original?
I can make an extra copy, and I think we have the digital
Yeah.
as well.
And actually, the emergency plan, Gary and his staff updates on an annual basis. Some of the contact information, new employees coming, going, new town board members. So all that information is taken care of by
Well,
the
isn't that
district
why
of
we have the
Riverhead.
generators,
Yes,
Well,
it
yeah,
lists
that's
all the
good.
generators, correct.
right? So, we are situated for an emergency.
Oh, yes.
Correct.
So,
But
I
thi-
mean,
But I think as
we
a-
have a plan,
Oh, yes.
so we
Absolutely.
have that.
And
Okay.
for different scenarios. I'll
This
give you an
is- yes.
example. 2008, we had, we believe it was a single individual, a kid, break into Plant 8 up on the golf course at Talmadge's Friar's Head. And to give you an example of how we reacted is we first realized that they broke into the caged ladder. And then we realized that they had broken into the main hatch. They actually broke in and broke the lock and opened up the main hatch. As soon as we realized that, we went from stage 1 to stage 2. We drained the tank, we isolated it from the system, we had various different
was my-
emergency,
Probably, yeah.
and that's all
follow-up.
part of the program.
That's all part of the plan.
So we can pretty much isolate most of our water sources.
Right. And we are
Which I think
upgrading
that would
our
be our most
security
important.
systems.
Right. But what the plan does is a written document, God forbid something happens when the superintendent and the assistant superintendent aren't around.
Yep.
It gives other staff
Yeah,
members the
you
ability
should
to
let
open
me
it
have
up.
that since,
Okay.
Okay.
Well, do you have an original of, rather than him have to Xerox it, of our old
We
one?
could get you a copy by tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll give you the old one and then.
Did
the
we
new one.
catch the kid that did this?
No.
And what is this going to cost?
To update the emergency plan, $4,500, and to update the vulnerability analysis was $3,500.
8,000 altogether, which we have in our budget for.
Okay.
Well, it's something you have the budget for, because it has to be done annually as well as every 5 years.
Well, the annual.
Annual, they
update
take
we
care of
do.
themselves,
We
so there's
take
no
care of that.
cost
Every
associated.
5 years you.
5 years, we have
The
to get.
federal mandate is being done with that.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep. We'll get you copies.
Okay.
And there's one thing Gary did mention, what we also provide, in which the state health department wants, they know everybody puts these documents together, and what they do is a lot of people just stick them on the shelf and don't use them. So they want to have what they call a desktop exercise. Fire departments do training all the time. Well, this is a training, and actually we're going to do it with neighboring water supplies. We're going to probably, in your case,
Make
we'll
sure
work
it's,
with
on
the
my
Hampton
calendar.
Bays, and we could hold it in this room. We could hold it, in our
Mutual
office, whatever.
assistance.
And we prepare a scenario, and we don't tell the individuals what's going
Right,
to happen, whether
yep.
it's a hurricane or, and then we go through and see how the staff reacts.
Okay.
Well, I think that
Absolutely.
what we should do is give certain people a glass of water, like Tim Gannon, who just made a face, and sample it.
I was just about to volunteer.
Right, exactly. And if he, like the canary in the coal mine, I'm kidding, Tim, we love you. I get criticized when I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But shouldn't say that. It's unprofessional of you.
I don't have I think it's
but
important.
just-
I don't have a problem with this. I think
It has to
We
be
just
done.
wanted to explain to you and bring you up to date.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that's.
It'd be
you'll
nice if
find
you
very
could do it
interesting.
in-house.
We are doing it in-house annually, but there's things that that Dennis and H2M do and joint with the other water companies that we can't achieve.
Yeah, you want continuity with the other ones.
I mean, there's things that
And
for
it
instance,
looks like you hold
here's-
all the
here's a-
purse strings.
Here's a
there,
strange one.
Good job.
If somebody
We
went to
share with the,
Ignite,
we share the
EMP
discount.
price, which is,
Good stuff. That's
from a small
Move
nuclear
your cup.
Right.
Move your
EMP
cup.
fries all electronics and ignition systems and whatnot. How many of my auxiliary systems would survive that and be able to run? And
Right, because they
support
come
the
with the main one.
work? Exactly. Now, everybody would say like, you're
All right,
crazy.
so
It's
we're
possible.
good.
Terrorists
Possible,
get
that
that.
would be
What's
a-
the status of our update to a water master plan?
Actually, a draft copy has been given to the water district, and we need to schedule a meeting probably next week, and then we'll come and present a draft to the board.
All right, I'd like to have a draft
Thank you.
before it comes to the board so I can read it.
Okay.
We will schedule a meeting.
Okay. No, I want the hard guy, I want to read it before you come to the
yep,
board so I can act
We'll get,
intelligently.
we'll get you both.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. You got it.
Marty, I see you, but I don't see anybody else. Are you?
4,500
Ray
and
Picker's still
3,500.
coming? Okay, we'll wait.
I'll tell you.
Let's get Tara. We've got Testa. I need Testa. Pickersgill. That doesn't work. I need Hanley or Rothar.
Well, Zanlewski's here, which is good.
Well, no, he's waiting for Pickersgill.
He's
So
waiting
let's
for-
grab Hanley.
Right.
All right, thank you
Okay,
guys.
guys, have a good day.
Take it easy. Thank you. It's another pleasure talking to you.
You know, that board meeting on Tuesday, you were right. I think that was our longest.
Longest ever, because the other one was 9:55.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was what, we had 3 hours and.
3 hours and 20 minutes.
You know, when I was town attorney, deputy town attorney and acting town attorney, we regularly had two,
Well, you had-
3 hour board
Well,
meetings.
you had Bill Kasparovich, and you had
Yeah.
Steve
Right.
Aislip, and
Well, I'll tell you what.
Bill Kasparovich.
It was very informative.
Let me get my,
Yeah, and it was
let
a
me get my
big issue,
recorder.
so,
Click.
I liked it. Dick Amber wrote me to tears. He made me crying. I felt sorry.
I have a tough time after 10 o'clock because I go to bed
I
at
know,
9,
I
10
know.
o'clock, so I'm like,
You're ready to.
and I didn't drink any coffee. Hello, Jody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Waiting for Rick or somebody
Move
to
to
come.
adjourn, I think we're done, right?
Yeah, we've got executive session.
You gotta
Good.
take this.
I can go home and get rid of this sinus headache.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, okay, come on up.
Yeah, they
I
come.
was speaking
Okay,
with
then.
council members from Southampton, and they have work session every week.
Good day.
And Tony, you want to come up too? You're part of the bid. And
here, or do you want us?
No, you
just
want
on the
down-
side so
down-
they can
yeah.
see you talk.
Okay.
And Southampton's work sessions
Hi.
go to like 5
You
o'clock
missed it.
every,
You left.
whatever day they have work sessions. I thought, wow.
That's what Phil's used to
What
do.
we're about
Oh,
to
what's
do,
up,
so-
Phil?
Crazy.
We used to have 50 items on here.
Well, we do a lot of stuff in that, at the staff meetings, and that's why
I was
the
gonna
council-
say, with Phil's, it was more the staffing. Right, have all the staff in to talk about
Yeah, and I do the stuff at the staff meetings and the council members rotate in and out to see what's going on, and I don't know, it's a more efficient way to do it. Okay,
Ice rink.
I just want to say, I read the news review article.
I didn't read it yet.
It's kind of old news. We were taught, no offense, Tim, but we were talking about this a long time ago. I think you guys are doing a great job with the downtown events. I think it's fantastic. You're bringing thousands of people downtown, almost weekly, and so everything you're doing, keep up the good work. I like the fact that we're kind of modeling after what happens in Lake George, where the Mayor Blaze has these
there is
events
one.
every week, fireworks every week, and thousands of. And we're not going to be like George because we don't have the beautiful lake behind us, but we do have something. So I think you're doing a great job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And when can we build this? Because I think this is the next step, although I would like a piazza, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Well, basically, what we're looking to do is put together a bid document and go out to bid with it. We would like to discuss with the town what the process would be. I mean, we're preparing the bid documents, but if the town would handle the notice. And we also wanted to inquire, our recommendation is to actually bid it out in multiple parts, even though under Wick's law, because of the limited cost, we could bid it as one overall project. I don't know if you'd prefer to do that or not.
No, I think we should, well, actually, let me stop for a second. Because this question just came up and they asked me what to do with it, and Tara, where'd Tara go?
He left.
The board had put aside, when the Suffolk Theater was purchased, Cardinale put the $770,000 in one account, a capital projects account, and it didn't belong there, and it just sat there. We swept all, Tara, this is a point you have to listen to, because I'm changing my mind maybe in a minute.
Okay.
We swept, when we went through and finished our financial statements, we swept all the accounts, and the board made, we didn't make a decision, we just talked about leaving $250,000 aside for grants, because if everybody else is giving grants, if county can give downtown businesses grants, if Main Street grant through New York State, maybe the town has to, when we met with Mayor Pontier, they
right.
made a huge
Yes.
contribution to the arts.
Yep.
So this morning, about 2 minutes ago, Bill Rothar said, we've got to close out this $250,000. Do you want me to just sweep the account and put it back in the budget? And I said, well, put it back in the reserve fund. And I said, yeah, I guess so. But now I'm thinking maybe we don't, and this is a board decision, sweep that $250,000 because it's not, I don't want to say it's not accounted for. It's obviously accounted for, but we haven't allocated it. So that money is somewhat budget neutral. And so it's out there. So go ahead. So don't sweep it yet.
Basically, our thought,
The 250 was part of the 700.
Yes.
Yes. The 500,000 we swept.
Right.
Sorry.
our thought was to put out the bid to include, essentially, break it down where we would have the infrastructure, the site work, the foundation and all that as one bid, and then the supplying.
Sorry, Chris,
Supplying and erecting the pavilion structure as another bid, so there'd be two bids. I don't know how the ice surface would fall into that, if we would have to, I presume we'd have to bid that also, that or equal, so it'd actually be three bids that we would have. Just to bring you up to speed on the project, what we had done since the previous go-round, if you remember, we had a fairly substantial structure that was originally planned, where we had a 50 by 75 ice surface, and the pavilion alone was 65 by 100. It was a pretty substantial project. That would have required a lot of additional work in the area in terms of possibly relocating the restroom facility. There's a lot of utilities down there, a lot to deal with. We had, subsequent to the previous design, we had gone down to the site with tape measures and members of the bid board, And we took a look at it and laid it out, and now we're looking at a structure, basically that's a 50 by 80 structure. Okay? So it's substantially smaller than the previous layout.
How many square feet is that? I can do that in my head.
4,000.
That's fine.
And we have now a 40 by 70 ice surface, which is actually, when you take the area of the ice surface, it's less than half of what we had in the previous, but it would still allow up to 60 skaters, which I think
Well,
is
that's what
more than
my
enough.
question was, will this allow, people to come down and really skate? Instead of just having a small
Ask,
surface?
ask Chris, because how big is that one in Greenport? It's not
Yeah,
that
how
big.
big?
that
It's
big.
not that big.
No.
but
It's not?
It's really just recreational, people get into a loop and,
Right.
they have some events on there like the kiddie hockey, but it's not really like a big ice rink that you would have like an indoor facility.
But it's probably, I'm thinking 50%
All right.
bigger than
I
that.
just wanna make sure people are gonna use it, not come to it and say, you put this thing up and it's too small. That's what I wanna try to avoid.
I agree, but I think Greenport's is 50% smaller than this.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is
pretty
it
small.
smaller
than that? It is?
It's not
Oh,
very
wow, I
big.
didn't know.
40
Oh,
by
okay.
70
This is 40 by
probably
70,
the
isn't it?
max
Okay.
it could be, but it might be
Okay.
smaller than that.
So this
No,
wouldn't be for
that's what-
hockey,
well,
you
that
couldn't
was
have
my
hockey games on here, this would just be like
Well,
recreational.
we can,
We
the
have a
company,
hockey league,
I
but
talked to
I don't
two
know.
companies already that said you can do hockey on here, a different kind of hockey,
Oh,
but you can do it.
Come on up, Ken.
They're gonna send me
Ken.
the particulars on it.
because, our hockey official rink is 165 foot long.
Yeah, I know.
The one at Starsky's 165 by like 95.
Yeah.
It can't happen, I'm saying that's how you, no, I'm not, I'm just saying that's what you play
Okay.
hockey on.
All right,
This is
no, that's
half that,
satisfied.
less than half that.
Okay.
You know,
About
like they have
half.
half basketball courts instead of regulation.
Well, this
Yeah.
is, I think, good for recreation.
Yeah.
Basically, also, this can be, the way that this is set up is on the northern end of it, toward toward where the access is by the diner.
Yes.
You would basically enter almost at grade there, it'd be a slight incline, just to keep, rainwater and the like out, but it'd be handicapped accessible. And then as the grade drops down to the river, it would, be level, so it would be
Level
higher
out,
on the
yes.
riverside.
Good pitch.
So what you see is on the south end, we extended the patio beyond the enclosure. And there's a stair down on each side at that location, on one side to access where the restroom is, and the other side is a general access point.
where we put
And
the
that sort of
bands.
leaves almost almost like a little bandstand area.
Yep.
Type of a setup in that location. I did take a look at the structure itself, and if you actually in the future set it up where the north side, if you had like the canvas enclosures around the side, and on the north side, if you had some type of an act or something like that, you could seat about 300 people under the bandstand,
Oh, could
under
you?
the pavilion itself.
Okay.
So it could, our goal is for it to be a multifunctional
Yep.
pavilion.
When do we get started?
Well, the bid, the bid documents will be ready in about 2 or 3 weeks.
I'm only 20% of the board. We're so far on our way.
I'd rather you
Main
shift,
Street.
I'd rather you shift the ice rink down to the south and put the band on the north, facing the river, don't you think? No?
Do what now?
I'd rather put,
Well, no,
Space
that's
on the
only
north
if you
side.
had sort of an enclosed event. You really would
I
have
would
more
shift
of
this
a,
down this way and put that over in this end, on the north end, because that way the music's facing the river. I don't think I think people would gather around the river and sit around there and watch, if there's no room up there. But, does that put you back to the river, is what I'm saying.
Problem is,
But
then
the
you have to
peop-
look through an ice rink.
Go look through it anyway.
You're gonna look
no,
at
I'm
that.
saying, though, that was only if you had a very specific type of event. If you use this for a general, purpose, you would actually have the band down on the southern side where it's open.
That way the
And then this
people
way
are-
the
Yeah, well,
people
you
would
can
face the
still,
river,
you can
you know.
still sit on the river and listen to the band over
Exactly.
here.
It's more,
You can still
with
do
that
that.
being a raised platform, it's right in the middle of everything.
Right.
And it's still, it's open all the way around, it's panoramic.
And how far raised is this gonna be?
There's about a grade difference down there of about, I believe it's about 2 feet. It's not a huge grade difference.
I don't
But
want
we
water
do
in
want to
here.
raise it up a little bit so that we don't have an issue with water.
Oh, yeah.
And
We will
also
have-
the structure itself, which is a wood laminated structure, we are raising the structure up, the bottom of the
Okay.
piers, we're raising them up 2'8"
Well,
high above the surface with piers, and as you see, we got piers and a low wall effect around the
No.
around the
I was
pavilion.
thinking, if you had, something up here, a band or something, that people sitting, it would be higher than they're sitting, so, the person in front of them wouldn't block them, they
Right.
could, that look it up. It's like a stage, a 3 or 4 foot high stage.
Right.
Okay.
And
You
as
think it's
per,
too small, George?
Yeah, I think it got smaller. Did it get smaller just to, I know that we wanna put the roof in a gazebo, but that kinda dictated it getting smaller, correct? Okay, yeah, that's very, cause I know
I mean, if you
had
want us
one,
to rethink it,
we were gonna put one down in
that's-
the community garden was at one time. We had a sketch there, and it was like this size, and we had hockey people who looked and he said, it's too small.
Well, I don't think
Right.
we want hockey people down there. I think we
Or
want a
skating people.
bandstand.
How big is, just look at the, I don't say you're gonna get 60-something people. This would probably be like Stotsky Park's, 165, 170. I'm just for numbers, so it's less than half that. The other way, we're almost 100.
right.
So it's like not even
It's really
less
more
than half of
recreational,
Stotsky.
you know,
Yeah,
people get
totally,
on,
that's what I'm
skate
saying.
around
It's-
kind of a deal.
That's really
You
pushing
know,
it. If we could stretch it a little bit.
just basically,
less than half.
when we took a look at the overall project, we had such an interest. We were doing all of this parking, there was a lot going
I'd
on
rather
on the original plan. So, you know, when we took a look at it, we just basically cut down the
Yeah, we losing 9 parking stalls, right?
size of it.
So
Well,
you're
how
leaving
big
all
is-
parking that's there, just putting this in the middle on the roadway?
Do you think that in your bid process, you're gonna bid out something that can cover this ice? In case you have something here,
there-
people can sit?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
buy a rug that goes.
Yeah, we just
over
put
the
outdoor carpet on
Okay,
this.
so you're
Yeah.
thinking about that too, okay.
Yeah, that was actually another discussion we had. We feel that realistically, this should be seasonal from, let's say, from November through March. And other than that, it should be covered and be used for, more downtown events during the summer months as opposed to having it skating all year. That, when we thought about it at the last meeting, it didn't really make as much sense, so our plan is to have it seasonal, where it's
Okay.
about 4 to 5 months out of the year through the winter.
I'm trying to think of how big I took my kids to the one in Port Jefferson.
That's what I'm trying to look
In
up.
my mind, I don't think it's more than, 4,000
it's not.
square foot, and there were a lot
No,
of
this
kids.
is only 2,800 square feet. The whole gazebo is 4,000.
Yeah,
No,
I
it
don't
says
know, I'm not an
40
ice skater.
40 by
so I don't
70
know.
is
Oh.
2,800.
Right.
It's like,
And it costs them 40,000 to operate that one, just the
plus,
compressors.
yes, yeah.
It's very expensive to operate that.
I
Ours
don't-
is not.
Because of the refrigeration instead of freezing
Yes.
ice, we wouldn't be doing this.
No.
If it expanded a little bit, the price wouldn't change much. I'm just wondering if we could just stretch it a little bit somehow.
What I would do
That's
is,
really
is
tight.
the way to handle that would be to add an additional 20-foot bay in the north-south dimension.
Okay,
And if we do that and we stretch it out more in the north-south dimension, we can still have room for, a little bit of an extended
Yeah, we can
area
extend
on the
this a little
south
bit.
side.
yeah, I'd
personally
squeeze as
think-
much as we can.
And that'll get us up to a 70 by 90.
Or
surface.
40 by 90.
I'm sorry, 40 by 90
90.
surface.
My
right.
opinion is, I would, and this is just me speaking, I'd like to see what we have in Port Jefferson and what size you have, because I'd rather see this band shell out here that we could cover. I'd rather have this than expand this, because I think this makes it more functional. If you could seat 300 people in here, and have a band, that's pretty.
It's really hard to tell by looking at it on paper. Can we mark it out and go and take a look
You
at
go
it
over-
out there?
You can go out to, if you wanna see the actual
We
screen,
could,
go
yeah, we
out to
could see
Stotsky, and I
exactly
can
where
tell
it's
you
gonna be
exactly
placed.
what the
Just
piece
take
is skating
orange
on.
paint and spray at the corners where it's gonna be, and then we'll have a better
We
idea.
go out to Stotsky.
Well, yeah, we actually did that, but what we can do, we're meeting.
You did that,
Kenny
so the
tomorrow.
marks are out there now?
If you look at the
Meeting
road,
2 o'clock.
Jody,
Okay.
Yeah.
road that goes between you, picture in your mind that road, we would be taking up that whole space.
Okay, but there's a couple of feet on either side of this.
Well, originally
that
it was
There's a
are-
walkway and a viewing area around it.
Originally it was gonna go curb
That's
to
all
curb.
that is.
Right.
Originally, cause I mean, we were out there, we marked it all out, and all of a sudden now it's shrunk in.
Yeah, the original plan,
It'd go up
it was
on-
wider, and if you notice, right now, the bathroom facility is where it exists now. In the previous plan, we had to move that. That
We
was
don't
an
want to
additional
move the
expense.
bathroom facility.
I think you're
So
only gonna
expensive.
remove, what, 8 or 9 parking stalls?
That's it.
That's the ones that are on the road
On the
coming
roadway,
in.
correct. Correct.
This green should be where the green is now,
Yes,
shouldn't it?
that's exactly what it is,
Huh?
because we said cars pulling
So,
in,
so this is not gonna take up any more parking stalls.
no.
It's where the green is now down there, and
Right.
parking stalls go into that,
It is
right?
gonna take up parking stalls, John, because there's parking stalls here.
There's like no.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's
you
what I
just
just
said-
said, I just said
Hammers
that.
them right
I
to
just
the
eight
said
side.
that.
parking
What's
stalls.
But it's not
But
taking
the
up any on the inside.
Sean, I'm meeting with Ken
This wasn't
tomorrow
either.
at the site at 2 o'clock. So what we'll
This
do,
wasn't
we
either.
had already measured it out once. I'll bring my 100-foot tape, and what we'll do is we'll go down, I'll bring some I have marking paint, in the spray cans, and we'll mark out the pavilion the way it is now, and the skate surface the way it is now, and this area on the end, just to get a good look at, and then if, we'll take a look at it, and it'll be, marked
Either way,
temporarily.
It's only gonna be
Straight on.
52 foot wide.
Yeah, you're not much
Right?
bigger in your original one,
52
because it's
feet,
only
10 inches.
50 by 75.
Right.
I have
You're
two
not
questions.
that
I have two
No.
questions.
I'll have to pull up the original result.
My first question is, it's public land, so we're gonna probably have a referendum right on that, probably, public referendum, because it's not parking district property, it's town property. Second thing is, you looked at the whole entire back parking lot along the riverfront, and this is the less intrusive with parking, there's no better spot to put this on the main street? The reason I ask that is, I definitely think it's a good event, it's a good place to have social gatherings for the Main Street area. I don't know whether, in the big scheme of things for downtown revitalization, whether this is gonna wind up being the heart of town.
I've been looking at the big scheme of things downtown for
I
30
think more
years.
towards a little,
Yeah.
a little
It's
easy.
starting to
Well,
happen,
probably as
so-
long as I have.
For the last 30 years.
I think a little easy. For me personally, I think
Like to buy the CS
more
building,
towards,
right, Jim?
more towards the Suffolk Theater
that
is
up,
probably
make a
the
nice
center of
big
town.
park.
That's for me, but if this logistically works the best as far as area goes.
I mean,
don't
I
know.
think it does, because I think it's a
Well, I
natural
like
when you
this
come down that,
Because
it's
when
right
you go
in-
down
perfectly in the
into it,
middle.
you can see it, and that road's not gonna move, that road's gonna stay there.
Right.
Right.
And you drive down there and you can picture this
On Main Street, you could see
right
down.
at the bottom
You
of
can
that
see
road.
it from Roanoke too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
well,
I
let's
mean,
first look at that. I like this spot.
I like this
You
spot.
like this spot, you're on the
Well,
fence with it.
I asked a simple question. I like the concept. I'm just asking if we looked at every aspect of where it would be
We
best
did.
located for the future.
We looked
The
at
meeting
all the
tomorrow that
spots.
Ken set up was to look at, a pavilion company, and we have a couple of these projects, like the rowing house. This has a, cover, and then East End Arts might have a, pavilion area, and we were gonna try to coordinate the look of the pavilion, so then we would have these recreational areas all along the waterfront that are tied together, and you can see from.
Well,
Ray, is it gonna look like a firehouse?
The only thing, what,
Just
like
not at
Jimmy
all.
said, I think moving it down towards the theater, we're gonna be encroaching on private property.
Yes, Shelley owns that property.
Shelley owns that property.
No, it would have to be on town property.
Then you wipe out the parking behind
Yes.
Sweet's
we'll
area.
move that part.
And there's no parking there now.
All right, let's do this, because I think the real issue is the ice skating
I'll show
rink.
you.
And Chris, can you find out how big your ice skating rink is?
Yes.
Town property.
We'll,
Yeah, that's my one concern.
call Margot Garant and find out, Mayor Garant, I think she's still Mayor Garant, she is. And find out how big their ice skating rink is, because if this is similar, then we don't have a problem, because they pack them in there like, yes.
Well, I think you did a fine job on this.
I could throw out one other option, but I don't know if I want to.
Throw it out.
Going way back, we had looked at the downtown area, if you didn't have if you weren't able to drive all the way through the waterfront, if you had parking areas, originally the thought would have been to extend the Arts Council property all the way to the waterfront and put something there with the boathouse and everything, which
Right.
would be a really nice project, but it eliminates the
That's real fair.
drive-through, and there was a great debate about it years ago, and it was determined that that was not a, not
I'd like to get rid of the drive-through.
That's a
I
whole
have no
different-
problem getting rid of the drive-through.
Somebody else had also suggested if you put the drive by the back of the buildings, then that really encourages them to do store frontage, because.
Eventually,
driving
parking is gonna
fast-
move to the north, and the south is gonna be green space anyway,
Yeah.
eventually.
And
Nobody
we're
wants to sit in the little parking lot.
working on a,
My son came with my granddaughter, and he came home and said, "Dad, there's nothing on the river swings for someone under the age of 4."
yes,
He
there are the
says, you
community
need
gardens.
something so they can go down to the river and walk the river
Community garden.
and have a little, no, not the age of 4. They're more like kindergarten kids and up. They want, like the small,
Yeah, like the little.
the basket swings and.
Slide right into the water.
and-
The little
and-
hippopotamuses on the
frogs
springs,
or
remember?
mushrooms.
Stuff
Yeah.
park.
No, it's something,
Yeah.
Chris, it's something for you to
Remember
think
those
about
things,
it,
you know, we
if
make
you
them
ever find any extra money.
Those things that you go like in the
Because we
backyard.
want this to be family friendly.
Sure, I mean.
And family friendly would be, something that you bring
Those little spring rocky
kids
things.
to,
Those are the things.
Yeah, it's Stotsky.
Spring mates.
Spring.
And,
Okay.
and we do have water, that's another thing. We do have water spray down at Stotsky Park.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, the old children's.
Well, yeah, that the kids can run underneath.
Spray park.
Big
Yep.
Yeah.
sunflowers.
I just wondered
Go
how,
there often.
I'm just trying to figure out how you put that on.
You push a button and it's on its
You
timer.
push a button?
It lasts for about a minute and it shuts off.
Sprays, yeah.
Okay.
Kids
Like a
do it all
mister.
during the baseball
I do
games,
it.
even when it's
I do it. I run under it all the time.
You do?
All right, I think the board
That's it.
likes the location
Because
this morning.
my
Gary,
granddaughter goes
utilities
to
is
the
a bit.
park where they live and runs into that stuff. Huh?
What we're gonna look at as
So
far
we're
as
looking, and there
utilities,
is something
when
down
I'm there
south
with
of the
Ken
park.
tomorrow, we're gonna look to tap electric off of the service where the bathroom facility is, or any other location that's convenient. It's just gonna be for some general lighting, and power. The other thing we're gonna look at is, is there any gas service down there for the, that you have for any structures down there? If not, we could use like,
This is right over the sewer
we're
district line
thinking
too,
of
though.
doing some, we're thinking of along the perimeter, on the 3 sides where the skate rink would not be. They have lineal, infrared heaters that are gas fired. They would tuck up above the structure, you wouldn't really see them. But we wanted that on the perimeter, so when the winter parents could come down, the people that are around the perimeter sitting would be warmed by that while while everybody's
Oh,
sleeping.
you gotta, no,
So
in the winter you gotta be
thoughtful.
cold, it's important.
Now,
I love it.
Marty,
I
As
think
an
that's a
option.
great idea.
I got one more
You don't stay
question,
long
Marty.
if you're cold.
Put one right
Would they
back in
wanna
the
put the
building.
compactor, will that any way affect this?
I'm not really sure where that's going, I'm not.
It's
familiar
going
with
right where you have that push.
Oh, we have
Sounds
a
like
garbage
the
right
compactor's
next. Oh,
This
nice.
here,
Nice.
huh?
Sounds like the compactor's moving again.
Sounds like a conflict.
Yeah, that's not a good spot. I mean, with that being right next to the, I mean, you're gonna have a
Oh,
skate.
the electricity's there? You-
Right,
you-
you'd have,
Well, you
you'd have a
can't have a
skate
band
park
playing
there,
in the
you
middle
know,
of
a
the summer.
skating, a recreational area, a stage front,
from
all
the
that,
So,
and
so
you'd
we have to
dumpsters.
rethink where they
Oh, this
wanna
thing
put
stinks now, I
that
can't
then,
get in your place.
the compactor,
Cost.
huh?
Ask him about cost.
Cost,
Ain't no telling.
he doesn't know yet.
I'm sorry.
You don't know what the cost is.
Of what?
So this
What are
size,
you looking at?
This-
No,
How
I
much do
haven't
you think it
revised
will
it
come in
everything.
as? How much do you think it will come in as?
Well, I know the pavilion structure, the purchase itself is about is just under 100, we got a quote on that. The surface and the ice
The
is
ice
probably
skating ring
gonna
at
go
the
down.
old size was 127 with everything, ice
So that's
skates.
probably gonna go down to around 75-ish.
Yeah,
in that
I'm
range.
waiting for the quote
So
back
we're up to
now.
175 to erect the pavilion is probably going to run close to another 100 in terms of labor and, the installation. So, we're up to, around 275, and then you have the foundation, the foundation and slab work. I would estimate the size of the foundation and slab work here to be probably in the neighborhood of around 60 to 80, in that range.
You're not gonna go down, you're not going subterranean at all.
No,
No,
Cause I believe that the sewer line runs right
That's correct.
through that.
yeah,
Right through
that's,
that exact spot. So, okay.
So
we
we're looking
are
total
under
maybe
5.
4 something, 400.
in that range, yeah. I mean, we don't get to catch a break because even though the project's scaled down a little bit, we're gonna save some on material, but it's all gonna be prevailing wage,
Yeah.
standard,
Yep.
state.
So we got $100,000 grant.
So
if
we
the
gotta
board
put a
wanted
bid out
to
for an
use
architect, right?
The 250 from the Suffolk Theater that is sort of squirreled away. You might have 350 and then the bid, we
Get the
have
rest.
to pay a little bit every year out of the bid. We probably, general fund maybe makes a loan to the bid, and that's a question.
I'd rather-
What kind of tax
If we had
increase
the
are we
250,
looking at for next
None.
year? Cause I'd rather put the 250 towards that if
None.
we're,
No tax increase.
no?
No.
No, for the bid.
No, for the town.
Oh, wow. We're not there yet.
the bid taxes have gone down the last 2 years.
No, I know, I'm just saying if we have an extra 250 squirreled away, we should be offsetting tax increases in the general fund.
You can't
We're
offset.
trying
you
not to
can't-
have a tax
You
increase.
can't offset that, that's not, when the town's general fund is balanced,
Yeah.
then the 250 would be able to do that. The
Let's-
town's general fund is
I
not
think,
balanced.
I think
Hasn't
before we,
been balanced in 10 years.
I think before we make those decisions, we really should get the bid specs back and find out exactly what this is gonna cost us and how we could come up with what we need to come up with.
Okay?
I'll put a notice
Yeah,
to
how many
bidders
years is it?
together and get it to your office, Sean, as far as getting,
The life of the bond.
this way at one of your town board meetings, you can
Which could be
do a resolution to publish and post the
Yep.
notice.
20 years.
Yes, get it to
But
Tara
that's just for
or
the
Jill.
easement, for
Okay,
them to.
and,
So it's about 20 years then.
And can I have a hot
basically-
chocolate vending booth over here?
She's gonna find out about the charge.
I'll have a hot chocolate vending
Well,
booth.
Yes, there you go. And what we'll do is we'll, set up the bid, we'll probably allow a 4-week bid. We'll have a pre-bid
kill
that
me.
Ken and I will attend with the prospective bidders. And then when the bids come in, we'll know exactly where we stand.
This is a $500,000 project. I mean, these are the types of projects that I see along with other recreational projects that the bid has proposed for downtown and maybe a spray park and things like that, that I think that we should be thinking about bonding rather than paying cash for. So I don't know if the bid, we have the $100,000 grant, we have the bid that says that they could get sponsorships to the tune of $125,000.
But
Maybe the sponsorships,
Mom's here.
maybe the
Move a little bit.
sponsorships can
big
go
bosses
to
out
pay
there.
back the
I agree with you.
bond.
I agree with you. I agree with you,
see
Jody, but
this
I
as
think
Suffolk County National Bank ice skating.
they have no money to do it.
Yes.
Suffolk County National Bank.
They got some tight purse
Pavilion.
strings right now.
Yeah.
You know what I-
Oh, yeah?
Oh, they got some tight purse strings right now.
I think Suffolk County National Bank, bang, right up there, like City Field.
I agree with you, Jody, to some extent, but rereading that Moody's report, I think we'll be very careful what we buy.
You can't, you're not in a position to
We're not in
bond.
the bond right now.
But,
And-
so we're not coming off any of our debt?
No, the debt
Since
is,
the last
the debt
Moody's-
is increasing for the next 5 years because of the landfill.
Yeah.
And so even if you were to take the town general fund is balanced with a $2.6 million, basically one-shot revenues, and we're gonna try to decrease that this year a little bit, but there's, this is not, if you took this 250 out, all you're doing is putting it into the fund balance. It's not going to necessarily affect,
there
because
was
it'd be
a
a
lot-
one-shot revenues.
There was an article in the paper, I'm just bouncing off of what Councilwoman Giglio said, that if we lease the landfill out for $145,000 a year, we should pay down the landfill debt with that money instead of putting it in the general fund.
Same
And I
difference.
think that was a good idea, the person who wrote that.
It's the same difference. The person, I didn't read the article, but the person doesn't, I never spoke to the person, I know who wrote it, but they don't understand the basics of the town finance. The town general fund pays for the landfill debt, and so that $147,000 a year.
No, this would be additional. You would still pay for it, but this would be additional. It would be like the principal, paying down the principal with this money.
You can't, the debt has to be, and I don't know the number of years, but you can't prepay for a certain number of years because the investors, and it might be 8, I'm not positive, the investors want to be guaranteed a certain income. So all you
I'm
would be-
just saying, it's something that we can look at.
Yeah,
think
but I
it's-
mean,
I
I'm
think
saying
it's-
you can't,
I think it's 10 years, actually.
it may be 10 years, but to say you're gonna take this 147,000 and put it towards landfill debt, you're doing that anyway.
Ray, what are the status of some of the other grants? I know that there's one grant that's already, I guess, locked in for the most part.
We
Yeah, the
awarded
Suffolk
this
County
ice
grant.
rink grant, and then we're closing out the East End Arts Council, the, row house is part of the pavilions. We wanna just put in the row house, the East End Arts Council, performance pavilion, and then we pretty much finished up all the other ones, the Peconic Avenue crossing, the comfort station. The last piece was the sidewalk. So, Frank Messina closed most of those out and got reimbursed, and we're only gonna have this one, so we'll be eligible for more, but next year they're only gonna have 250,000. So, we got such a big hunk of the last round, I don't know that we're competitive to get
But-
more and more and more.
But I'm on that board, and as a board, we spoke about doing something where everybody would benefit, like making downtowns Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi.
We have that anyway, because you have Optimum down there, right?
No,
It's sketchy because of the buildings downtown.
Well, let's get rid of the buildings.
We did it
you
in
go.
Babylon, so, and it
Saying
works
that for
really good,
5 years
so
now.
they're talking about spreading the money out that way with the town, since it's only 250. And I think it was 27,000 in Babylon to do the Wi-Fi.
You know what we could do, because we're coming up, and in a future work session, we're gonna be talking about renegotiating the cable franchise. That may be something we ask for, is to boost the Wi-Fi downtown, let them do it.
But were there any other
Especially
grants, Ray, that you're
Marina.
aware of that might benefit?
We have
this?
somebody working on that.
Yeah, that was my question to you, Chris, just to get back, so we can get back, stay on the pavilion. There are some grants available right now to, or help offset some of the staging or whatever.
Yeah,
And you say there's grant money left over from East End Arts, or that's closed out?
We have just the performance pavilion, so that's the meeting tomorrow. We were trying to get
So-
pavilions that are.
Are we
like-
taking money away from that and redirecting it, or?
No, that was, we can't really actually change where that money goes because it was part of
Okay.
the renovation.
Well, I just wanna make sure that
of Eastern Arts
everybody put in for
Council.
something's gonna get what they get, don't take
But
something
there's,
away.
I mean,
No,
there's
they
state grant money, it comes with strings attached, so that's part of the issue for the recreational. You know, we could probably get the additional 200,000 very easily, and I'd spoken to the state parks person, and they said that's a great project, but then it becomes, state money, and it becomes a state
A state
facility.
facility.
So any of the restrictions that you were concerned about with the county.
Well, there's gonna be restrictions with this, with the county dollars as well, right? We
Yeah.
have an
Minimal.
easement or something,
Minimal.
7-year easement or something?
Yeah,
I
minimal.
personally don't care,
Well,
because I want the
restriction is
state's
that,
residents to come
everybody from
downtown
the county
to,
could use it.
County.
Right, right.
and the
bring it
county,
down.
and we want them,
Yeah,
so.
no,
But just
no,
look
no,
at
just having, talking to the
what
people.
Jim said.
Oh.
There's constraints here from the county. We think it's 7 years, but she's actually looking for an answer on that.
Well, there may
You just
be-
told me.
there- Ray said that we could do minimal charges for maintenance,
Yes.
which
No,
would
no.
cover the
Yeah.
facility, but
We
we're.
can't charge a fee,
To use it.
right, to
No,
use
but
it.
you know,
But
every
when you
rental-
look at, say,
every
the
rental.
100,000, we got the 250,000 from
Right.
There'll be
the
rentals.
boss, yeah, maybe.
There'll be rental
We were
fees.
looking to take 100,000 to kickstart this thing in, so that 250 would kick, I'd rather bond 100,000 because we can start charging fees right off the bat, like Greenpoint does. You told me they're pulling 60,000 a year in fees?
Yeah, but then they have costs.
No,
But,
we won't have the cost.
but the carousel makes the most money, makes 50,000.
Well, let's stay on it. So in the business plan, why would I, you know, in 3 years, it's paid off for making
We
money.
could charge $5 a person as a maintenance fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think you have
So
to
you-
worry about
Huh?
bonding it, I think.
Minimal, and then renting
such as-
skates and then renting the
But
facility.
you
out.
can't
really don't
charge
have to
a
worry about
ticket
that
to
'cause
the
it's
county
not
to
built
use it,
yet.
am I correct?
Well,
Let's build it
we're gonna
first.
find out
Yeah.
exactly.
Let's get the
Right.
bid specs and find out what's gonna
Well,
cost
she's
us,
gonna
and
find
then
out.
we'll worry about all
Well,
that
a
else.
good business plan, I have to go along with George, a good business plan will state where you're gonna get money from before you build it.
Well, we
So
still-
that's what
we
we
gotta
need.
find- Well, we
Right,
need
for the
bids to find out
100,000
what's gonna cost us,
stipulation, we
if
may
we're gonna
come
build
2
it.
years paid off and we're.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
it's
have
not
to
where-
build it first.
Well, no,
Let's
I,
find out
you
what's
gotta
gonna
have a
cost.
business
Let's find out
plan.
what it costs
First,
first.
the details.
Yeah,
I've
of
heard
course.
6 years, 7
That's
years.
what the
Okay.
bid's for.
For sure. And maybe
probably
forever.
not
Bid-
worth
bid specs
bonding
are the cost.
$100,000,
Yeah, you said
that's
build
the
it.
point.
We'll find somewhere
Cost.
else. Look at the business plan.
We're arguing
No,
over.
but we
Yeah,
can,
we're not arguing over it.
What about with
I know, but we don't
the,
have to bond that.
what about with the
Right.
$75,000
Landfill.
refund check that we're getting from Verizon for the phone audits? That should be coming any day.
I do not like getting involved with the county with these
Is
right-of-ways.
that going forward?
Yeah, we got the $75,000 refund check
Okay.
coming.
I think there's
we
ways,
get
I think there's
that
ways
whole
around that, George.
75, do we?
I think there's ways around that.
Yeah, I think
But
we should work on
we're
that. Because that is-
realizing,
let's
we're
get
not
the bids
getting the whole
together, let's
75, but we're realizing a significant savings, and we got the 15,000 from the LIPA rebate for enacting the solar.
And it all goes into general fund,
All
which
goes
is why
to
you
general
get.
But even better yet, the bid, when you came in here, you'd know about the 250 that Sean found. So maybe we can fundraise only 100,000 more.
Suffolk
Or-
County
So maybe instead
National
of
Bank,
250,
Suffolk County
it would
National
drop your
Bank.
bid raising, and I think
Yeah,
you're
well,
still ahead by 150,000.
I'll set up a meeting.
Actually, the biggest natural contributors are Citibank and, HSBC.
Still
are the biggest
available to go to
contributors
this
right now.
project.
Nationwide.
And the town putting in money
Competition there.
toward the
Well,
project.
something that
I
does
think
so much
with
for the
the
community, I
bid,
really
we
think
had
they're
talked
tightening
about
their
this.
purse strings now.
You know, if
Also,
there
Bridgehampton,
was some
yeah.
bonding, we're not
Bridgehampton,
adverse
if
to
Suffolk County
HSBC
says
probably
no,
love to get there.
Bridgehampton might say
Right,
yes.
I wanna,
bonding on it.
since
For a
you-
20-year bond, you know, out
Right.
of our budget, we could.
since I
Or
have.
you can,
Because I
you
just
can
don't like
lower
the
the bid
county.
at 5%,
That's probably had in
and
Stafford's
then you're
Park,
making
that Greenway's
2% of
money
the money,
next door.
so.
We
There's a
stopped.
way for $100,000, and not, the town can figure out a way to find $100,000 that doesn't cost the taxpayers any
Yeah,
money.
you can make
That's
money
not-
on the bid
Okay.
at a 5% loan.
There's
Because you're only
no,
paying-
I'm
Right.
not worried about $100,000
So then we're good.
in a $45 million
The
budget.
only thing we'll look at is maybe the
Still makes
spreadsheet. Sorry,
Bond
it's a little
equity
bit.
money.
That's what we're gonna mark it out. We're meeting Friday at 2:00.
Right.
So what we'll do is when we go down there, we'll actually mark it out, and this way, you know, if you wanna stop down, that'd be great, take a look at it, and see.
Pavilion.
I wanna, alright,
We'll have Friday.
we're having too many conversations. The $100,000, if we have to do it, we'll set up as, whoever said it, a business plan where the bid pays it back. So the 100,000 is doable. The last thing I wanna say, I was not successful getting what I call the Welfare to Work program to open the bathrooms on Main Street.
I've already
They
volunteered to do it.
promised all this stuff and never were able to deliver people. I would like to, I don't know whether I can do, excuse me, do this, but that administrative, I don't know whether we financially can do this, but the administrative charge back against the bid of $20,000, if there's a way to reduce that or eliminate that, I'm gonna be looking at that. I don't know, because the town's got some other financial situations, like potential negative assessed valuation because of the condos grievances. But here's what I've been playing with in my mind, is that the bid, or the town, well, the town probably would hire a seasonal employee from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and that employee's job would be to open the bathrooms, clean the bathrooms, maybe plant the flowers, police Main Street, sweep Main Street up to, railroad. It's a lot of work for one employee, but if you're there the whole summer,
Well, you want them at the building, you want them there for,
you,
you're not gonna be up sweeping Railroad Avenue, leave the place open, are you?
no, but, we're going to have, I'd like to see if we could start with one seasonal employee
what do you
that,
mean
for the
sweep?
bid.
Can't you handle that through recreation, or
What do you
through
mean
V and G?
Just
Are they
pick
gonna
up
have a
the
broom?
Just pick up the cigarette butts and the things like that, the Main Street
Well, I don't-
areas.
Yeah, let's not get specific, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
understand
not,
what you want to do. It's
Clay,
probably
I'm
good-
talking about,
That's a good
yeah.
idea.
I'm talking
is
about
a
having
good idea.
one employee that employee's job is, it is unacceptable to me when I walk down Main Street and I see garbage. And so if we can, or Railroad Avenue, I mean, I go to the train station on a regular basis and pick up trash
What's even
over
worse than
there.
that is having a beautiful bathroom renovated, not open. That's
Yeah,
even worse.
and that
But
welfare,
I think recreation could stick somebody down there, or V and G, or seasonal, I think that's a great idea.
so that's what
Guys down there too,
that's
yeah.
what we're gonna try to do.
And that was gonna segue in from this ice skating rink into the fact that we've dumped millions of dollars into Grangeville Park, and we still haven't parlayed that into a great centerpiece for the
Well, I think you guys, the bid is talking about doing some stuff next year in
Right.
Grangeville Park.
Yeah, I got a couple of events I'm working on with Townscape to try to get that little pavilion going, but we got it.
And that bathroom does get open from time to time, and they do use the bathroom. The community garden people have keys to the bathroom, and they do use it, so it is
Okay.
used.
Oh, I'm glad.
It's
Yeah,
just
I'm glad.
not, unfortunately, the plan was the county's welfare to work program, and
Sean,
when that failed,
You get
there
what you
was
pay-
no.
get what you
we were
pay for,
also
Sean.
contacted by Lowe's, Lowe's wants to donate some of their services, their employee services, to do something downtown. So Chris and I were thinking about maybe having to mulch all the landscaped areas of Grangeville Park. Because the mulch is kind of, disappearing.
Yeah.
Make
would
it
be
nice for
great.
the county fair, so they're gonna come down tomorrow at 3 to check it out, and then they send like 15 people down, and
Country
it's a
fair.
community day.
Right.
Country, not county.
So that'll be happening soon.
That'll help keep the weeds down, and I wanted to send buildings and grounds in there as often to pull weeds, so.
And,
Yeah.
and the
Well, they look
county,
nice.
the county, person that handles the grants was down, was it this week or last
Yeah,
week?
it was just me.
She just made a surprise visit to check out the projects, and she was very, it was Monday, cause Ray was off. So Ken and I went down and showed her everything, and she was very, very happy with the way everything looks, and particularly the bathrooms, and, we used the crossing, and on the way back, we tried to cross on the corner of Roanoke
Yeah.
and Maine, which was so difficult, and it makes sense of why we have that crossing. We walked right
Oh,
across.
that's another problem. I drove
The
through Main
car
Street yesterday, it was
stopped,
an
it worked
adventure.
the-
You just can't get through Main Street.
Like
I'll tell you, it was interesting,
Frog.
it was
Yeah, don't-
interesting to note
Took me
that I
20
never
minutes
used
from
the new
Fishel
crosswalk.
Avenue to
As
Grangeville.
soon as we
Oh, you
stepped
with your
into
car?
line at the shoulder of the
Yeah, the
road,
traffic
It's
is
really
awful.
become
I
ridiculous.
could walk backwards.
Yeah.
Main
we
Street.
stopped
Yeah.
before we even had to make eye contact.
And it was
with
great.
the-
She
Seen
loved
I
it. She
bypass
started
Main
the
Street
Arts
now
Council
when I
to
go.
the
I go
loop,
Second
and then,
Street.
And outside my
we have
window,
money
there's like
for the
3,
Fish
4
House
Down
and
to
signage.
the
Well, I
library.
like the profile. I look at my
Miriam
car, man. It's
designed
got
this
one.
really
Yeah, we got
cool-
too many conversations.
We have the last piece of the Grangeville Park project with the fish passage is the signage for the fish passage, and Brian DeLuca from the aquarium had their fabricator design a really nice, it's like a conceptual sign, because it's gonna be a fish ladder that looks like netting that's a ladder, and it has the fish kind of going up, but it's this giant structure and river rocks go in it, so it'll be something that'll be signage for the fish passage, but will add to, the aesthetics of the park,
I
and,
wonder if it meets our sign ordinance.
Now, whoever,
Where's this going, in Grangeville?
well, we need to do signage, but he's gonna get the conceptual out, but it's,
All right,
who
get it
pulls
to
the
the board.
weeds out from, along the banks of the fish passage, or they just stay there?
Yes, yeah,
the,
we are.
the weeds on the fish passage?
Yeah, on the sides,
What do you
you
mean?
know.
Buildings
I was
and
up there
grounds.
walking,
You just
huh?
don't- It's buildings and grounds, you just don't have the.
The weeds on, that would be Village of Grounds, yeah.
Buildings and grounds, because I was walking
I didn't
and they
notice.
cut, but
Okay.
where it goes down into by the water, weeds seem to be growing up.
Okay. It was
Yeah.
very flooded, when we, it was very high tide, so.
Okay.
Cut out slots.
All right.
Let nature
All
add
right,
some of that.
let's switch, Chris, we got
I'll tell
the
you.
downtown dumpster enclosures, Ray, I guess we're
Thank you, Marty.
changing,
Yeah, we're
Well,
gonna
now,
have to,
now you're gonna have to change.
down,
Talk to you about the grapes.
we'll go look.
The,
We're working on it.
Maybe
downtown
when Ken's there
dumpster.
right, the
tomorrow.
one on the north side by coronary yachts is
Right.
going in the next couple of weeks. I had that one worked out.
Good.
The one on the south side I have a little bit of an issue with because, the contractor.
Because of this.
Winter, well, that is a new one, but also they proposed a three-phase, 240 volt
Right.
service back there. We don't have three-phase in the back, so I have a call into them to see if they can provide it. Normally, they would probably be able to provide it in single phase. It'll be more current, more amperage.
Right.
But it won't need the three-phase, and I can deal with the amperage because I have a primary line down there, I can drop the transformer.
What are we talking about?
So I'm working with them on that, and if that doesn't work, they make a transformer that you can
compact.
hook up to a single-phase line that will,
They need-
that will transfer it,
need,
it'll convert it
200.
into
Right.
three-phase. Little bit of money, it's cheaper to go the other way, but they're working on that for us.
You got no
All right.
power,
I
you
guess
got
I'll
no power
have
in
to
this thing
tomorrow,
anyway.
I'll touch base with Marty on how the location may interfere.
Yeah,
with-
when you come down tomorrow.
Yeah, that
we can
Yeah,
location-
look
let's
at it.
finalize the
Location's no good now.
All right.
You don't
Also-
have to do that.
Let's work on,
On Pulaski Street, the Pulaski Street sidewalk, the school
Wait for the
district.
good location.
Chris had enough money left for us to go all the way down Pulaski, around the corner, about halfway down
Let's put
Osborne.
this back.
yeah, Chris apparently had her own little press conference about that.
And the school district, and what I wanted to point out, the school district chimed in, they're kicking in about $8,000.
Nice.
To finish that run all the way down Osborne to the entrance to the parking lot behind Pulaski.
Good.
So it'll be from North Griffin all the way around. It's
Good,
gonna look
good,
nice.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Not Telephone Street, the other street,
Cranberry,
Cranberry. Oh, isn't there a sidewalk supposed to be put up on
on the
Cranberry?
Safe Routes to School, which is gonna be going out to bid.
Not till the
very soon.
drainage is done, right?
Well, we're gonna do the Safe Routes, we're gonna do sidewalks and curbs.
Yeah, and we, for next week, for the first day of school, we were hoping you could do a press conference with.
Well, it's a
the
one-way
school.
street now.
You
although
already
it's not
had your
marked.
press
No, we
conference.
did, they went down and took a
Now,
picture of the
now,
work.
wait a minute. You mentioned drainage. We have to pay an engineer
Right,
about $8,000. Are we doing that or what?
right. I don't know, it's a matter of where that money's gonna come from. We were trying to get the county to chip in with us and share the cost, but they're saying, no, you guys deal with your problem.
Yeah.
We'll deal with our problem.
I think they
just have
said
to
they're
figure
gonna
out-
pay for their problem, we're gonna pay for our problem, but our problem costs about 8,000.
I don't remember the exact amount, but we have to
Gio's
figure out
got
where
it.
to get that from. I
Huh?
think the
That's
thought was
Gio's
it should be
money.
highway. Right, I think you decided.
Yeah, I think that's
I got the looks at-
All right,
the
let's
bills
do,
on process, and we'll take a look at that.
done with me.
we need Bill Rothar, cause this
so,
next
yes.
one's gonna be quick, I think.
Thank
I
you
don't know
very
if it'll be
much.
quick.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
gonna
you,
look
Ray.
for some locations. Going in next week, or in the next 2 weeks. Generac, Hanley.
I think the dumpster location right here is perfect.
Where?
I think they had it for businesses there.
Who's here?
That was a good spot
Yeah.
until this came.
I don't
Oh, we'll have to figure it out. You know, even if the dumpster's there, if it's properly screened and everything.
It's not gonna make noise at night.
It's the smell, John, it stinks.
No, it's gonna be-
You ever go in the back of Robert James
No,
Salon?
it's gonna be a compactor.
Okay.
It's gonna be all enclosed.
Still gonna emit odor.
Yeah, I don't know where the best location is, because you don't want to put it in front of Summerwind. What we
No.
have now is absolutely a mess. You don't want to be the opening entrance that comes in, your dumpster, which is where it originally was planned.
We'll find a spot for it. We'll find it. We'll figure it out.
All right. I don't know.
We gotta go
We
get
gotta
bid
get a
specs
price.
first.
We're gonna get
We gotta put
estimate out
bid specs
first.
together and get bids to find out what it's gonna actually cost.
And
The 250, what happened was Cardinale had left the 250
In case we had to buy
in
back the
case he
reverter.
wanted to buy the theater back through the reverter. So he left it in a capital account, which probably was not where it should have been. And we swept all those capital accounts and put the money back into the general fund or wherever it belongs. And the board sort of informally said maybe that 250, we keep 250 out for grants to people on
How
Main
are you?
Street. And maybe this is an appropriate use of
Somebody
that.
has to sit over here?
Yeah, it's been sitting there since the money, the theater was bought. Oh, no, we knew about it. just hadn't swept the accounts because we hadn't closed the, up until November of last year, we hadn't closed
I can't see.
our stuff out.
Morning.
Not for spending half a
Go ahead, you get, give me 1 second.
I have one for Jeff.
I'll be right back. You guys can get
Jeff has
started.
one already.
There's only 6, so you're gonna need.
I gave, Jeff has one.
I can give you more room now.
Do I want it?
What you're looking at is a synopsis. I think we're talking about the age in place application.
Yeah.
What I gave you was a synopsis of where we're at.
Morning.
Seems like I'm just here.
Yes, we were, till 6:30 last night, right?
7.
Oh my gosh. That's why I guess.
Mr. Hall put this together for us.
This is where they're gonna put right here?
No, no.
That's this whole thing.
That's the whole
That's,
piece.
this, anything that's outlined in blue, that's the parcel.
It's green, the wetlands?
That's.
That's a
That's
depression.
a depression that's on
That's
our
a
inventory,
depression,
but
that's,
it's
the-
not a
yeah.
wetland.
This is the wetlands
That's
over
the
here.
wetland.
Okay.
And those 2 spaces up there at the top, they're actually coterminous. Where the green space is, that's where the DEC wetland is. They're both the same wetland.
Up here,
The blue one is mismarked. It's mislocated.
okay.
The green is the actual location?
Yes, the actual
Oh,
location.
And what's the R34?
That's a DEC regulation.
What is that?
It's state regulated as well as town.
They number the wetlands.
They number theirs. We number ours by.
Oh, that's a
4
wetland
digits.
thing?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's their designation.
But this
for
is
the
not the
same
right
wetland.
location.
No.
Oh, it's
Here.
It's right there where the
supposed to
green
be
is.
here.
Yep.
So ignore
They're
this.
both there.
Oh, so they're both in the same spot?
Same spot.
Okay.
It's that one.
The CAC area. The CAC.
So basically what we're doing with this application is doing the seeker on it. Mr. Hall has determined that it's a type 1 action, both the change of zone as well as the contemplated site plan. So we've coordinated review with the involved agencies. We sent a copy to the planning board, health department as involved, and the DEC because of the wetland issue. I guess we sent it out to water and sewer? Just
No,
as a policy,
the
is
town,
it?
town board is the
Okay.
responsible agency for
For both.
sewer district and water district, so you guys are initiating the coordinated review as the principal agency for the zone change. The DEC will also be involved in agreeing to and approving the changes of the districts.
I have a 2:00 meeting with, the sewer department, to go over this.
The
Yeah.
sewer is essential to this application.
Right, so,
They've made an application to extend the district. They completed a mapping plan, H2M, a number of months ago. And I think the discussion is going to be what improvements are the obligation of the applicant
Right.
to spend in the sewer district.
I think that's what they're
the
gonna
key.
discuss today.
Right.
Is the applicant gonna be there?
The applicant's gonna be there, yes.
When the first mapping plan, when the mapping plan was done, I think there was a considerable amount of improvements that had to be done to the district, something like $6 million or something. But according to Reichel, over the years, certain improvements have already been made to the district, pump stations, that kind of thing. So, it's gonna reduce their obligation somewhat.
Okay.
And they still have to pay the sewer impact fee
Yeah,
as well. so-
I just wanna
Okay.
keep you
Okay.
abreast of what's happening.
Yeah, it's,
You know.
it's really important because
He's a
unless
hydrant.
we
Oh.
can get the appurtenances of the
green
sewer
is the
district
water
to the
main.
site, this project can't happen.
Right, so,
I can't believe that
I
they
think
can-
that's why this meeting is probably
Okay.
set up.
All right,
Well, it doesn't even fit into the zoning criteria
That's
that was
correct.
laid out in the code where it says that it has to be connected to
I
sewers
think
or
it doesn't
within the
say
sewer
within,
district.
I
It
think
has
it
to
says
be
within 1,500
in or
feet.
within
Yeah, we'll have
certain
1,500
distance.
foot.
But I don't think the economics are there to construct an STP on the site
No.
and still build this.
Said it
I
had
don't
to
even
be
know that
sewers.
the parcel's large
This
enough.
is in the sewer district.
No.
No.
No, it's
Not
1,500 feet
It-
away.
No, it was never,
It-
I guess,
A portion of it was.
it was never taken out, that portion.
And that property was conveyed to the Riverhead Center.
Yeah, but, and it's still in it,
So
yeah.
it's the position of the sewer district that the parcel is not within the district.
Yeah.
They don't pay sewer district tax on this
Right.
piece, and they have to.
They have to
extend-
connect.
They have to.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah,
to
no,
extend.
I agree.
We have to
A
extend the
little
district.
portion of it is because they never took that,
That's been their
the
argument.
8 foot out of
That
the
argument
sewer
is not,
district.
it's not,
But their
it's
taxes,
not convincing the sewer
their
district
taxes
people.
do not show, a sewer tax.
Right.
And of course, the spec was written in such a way that it would be inclusive of this particular piece of property. Okay.
So that's where we're at. I don't think we've received any correspondence
yet.
from any of the involved agencies
No.
yet, so
Okay.
as soon as we get that, we can, declare lead agency and move forward on it.
Yeah, I guess the guy that handles the east end, the DEC, he's on vacation, so he's not coming back till next
The
week.
EAF is done on this.
I heard he's not
They
coming back
submitted
till
an
next week.
EAF. We have not yet done a simple report on it. It's the applicant's obligation to provide us the EAF, full
Which
EAF,
they did, and
which they did.
we conveyed it out to the,
That's part of the
involved
submission they
It's
gave to us.
definitely type one, both
oh,
ways.
absolutely,
yes.
both actions.
We presumed when we coordinated this that we were talking about a change of zone and subsequent development. When we get that subsequent development in the form of a site plan, in all likelihood, we're gonna coordinate the thing again with who's
Yeah,
involved at that
there's
time.
gonna be-
There's just no way we're gonna skip that step.
It's needed, but it's gonna be an
It's too
impact.
big. And when we get a site plan, we'll have an engineered plan to look at, something far less conceptual than what we're looking at now.
Right.
And so that's probably what we'll do when we get that happening.
So step
Okay.
one is change of zone, step two, site plan. Now, when Dawn Thomas was town attorney, and you can talk to Bob about this, it was her opinion that post-comp plan, that any applications from private parties for changes of zone would morph into a motion of the town board.
Right.
So we're continuing that theory. So unless I hear differently, that's where we're headed with this.
Did they submit an environmental assessment form as of yet?
we're the only- we're the
So
only
you've
ones that
done the
can
secret
address
review?
Not, we haven't done it yet.
No, no,
Still in the coordinated
Well,
review, so if I might hear something,
I think her
I might
thought
not.
is, if we're changing zoning to the benefit of the property owner based upon an application, that's different than the town board on its own motion making a zone change in order to implement the master plan. That's
I
her
see.
theory.
All right, makes sense.
That was her
So
theory.
this is gonna be a motion, a town board motion.
That's
Okay.
what we're operating.
But what we're dealing with now is an applicant.
Yep.
An application, which we had to treat under that secret citation.
Okay. Very good.
Sorry you missed our dissertation, Sean.
What did we
It was-
decide?
It was exciting.
Listen, I'm an attorney. When the judge comes, it doesn't matter that I'm town
That's it.
supervisor. I gotta go see the judge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we just went over that, where we are
You can
right
just take a
now.
look at
He
those
sent
bullet
everything
points.
out to all the interested parties, and they're waiting for a return, from the DEC.
Okay.
We can't declare
And-
lead
and this
until we
stuff
get
here,
the
and,
involved agencies.
Okay.
And the big issue is,
We have,
Well, we can default
for the lead agency, they're requesting us to be the lead agency. And we have, I have a meeting this afternoon with the sewer department.
And that updated sewer report Mike was trying to do, because originally the costs of the sewer district were very expensive, but more than, I think, 50% of the work's been done by the sewer
Correct.
district. Well, whatever those costs are, these guys have to pay, and it could be,
Well, they gotta pay
I
the
spoke to him,
impact, right? What
I
do they
spoke
call
to
it?
him on the phone and requested that anything he could provide, any information he could provide that would be helpful to our analysis, to please provide.
They have not finalized that map and plan yet report.
Right, I was saying, not only
No, it
connecting
was
to the
always
sewer
draft,
district, but there's an impact fee as well, right?
Yes, both.
And ad valorem taxes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay?
There's a few million right off the
We're
bat.
moving forward on it.
All right.
Very
Well,
good.
excuse me, keep us
Thank
posted.
you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep, thanks.
Is,
Bill here from
You're
Fund
very
Balance
thorough,
Policy.
oh, he's not here.
He is.
Jeff, Free, oh, and what's your name
I
again?
forget
What's your boss's name again?
how quickly we forget
What's your boss's name?
Jimmy.
He's on his way. If he's not, we'll do it next week. I wanna go into
I know.
executive.
All right, let me make a motion.
Oh, not yet,
Never
not yet. We're
malicious.
waiting for Bill to talk about
You
Fund
never
Balance.
malicious.
Oh, let's see
You
where he
went to
is.
see the Delta.
That was never sent to the
I have
state.
tickets today for the opening of, and somebody gave me two, said, I have two tickets if anybody wants them, and I said, I have to work.
He's out there.
The opening of the Barclays.
Oh, there he
today.
is.
The Barclays, yeah. I'm going tomorrow.
You wanna go see him?
is Alan Smith still out there?
Oh, okay.
Does it, Mama?
Two tickets,
Bill
Oh,
Rothar,
here's Bill.
free.
They'll dismiss it.
What is he here for?
Fund Balance Policy.
Fund balance policy.
There is no policy, we just spend it. Okay.
Spend, no, don't spend it.
Hey, we found something, let's give it to.
What, don't write that.
They get scared.
No, actually, we've been pretty, we don't spend.
What's
Bill? What's the issue?
I guess the question was on the fund balance policy. We were talking about the business improvement district, and the BIDMA wanted to spend another $4,000 or so. We have,
Did we approve that?
no, what we did was we paid them their fourth quarter payment
Right.
early, so that they had cash, and then we were gonna discuss whether.
Because it
we
was,
want-
right,
Right.
okay. The
So-
the tentative and the actual were off by 4,000.
Right. So, we're gonna be below, we're at 13.9% now in their fund balance. Spending this additional 4,000 reduces that even more.
But I don't, the fund balance policy for a special district like this, the purpose of the special district is not to accumulate fund balance.
Right.
Why do, I don't think the policy should be applicable, because if they don't have the money, they can't
So
do
we
the
don't care.
projects.
Well, and I read through the policy that was approved by the board, and the final policy approved by the board says overall and town general. It doesn't say specifically
Well, then
every
rewrite it, we'll sign
special revenue. No, it allows you by not specifically saying every special revenue district. So if the purpose of the bid district, no difference than the parking district, is only to fund expenses or repair the parking district, then there's no need, there's no unanticipated expenses that could force you to increase your taxes by 2% in
I
those
agree.
districts.
I think that the fund balance with the bid as well as with the parking district just means that they spend a couple of years not doing what they should be doing. So there shouldn't be a fund balance in those places.
And then the other side of it is,
It was more than a couple of years, according to.
Oh, my goodness gracious, yes, it was
Yeah.
over 300 grand at one point.
so you also have the fact that it's only $100 and something thousand, $110,000, $120,000 district, that $15,000 or $8,000 is not going to affect your overall 15% anyway. So as long as you're maintaining 15% in your general fund, you should still have close to 15% overall.
The only thing that we have to make sure is, and we should have had Ray in here, but we just have to make sure for next year.
Well, next year they gotta be very tight. There's not gonna be a lot
You
of,
have to live within.
right, they have to put a budget together that's realistic.
Two of the things that we spoke about was increase in taxes from the hotel. You're not going to see a significant increase in taxes from the hotel next
No,
year.
we're
Fund balance
talking about
policy for you
your
guys.
fund balance.
Right. And we'll have to talk to the assessor in order to figure out why we're not going to see a significant increase. What we are going to do is save some money on the administrative chargeback, because we're going to tier it. We're going to have an
Well,
administrative.
Probably not seeing the increase. I'm trying to think, they're not really ad valorem taxes for the business improvement district, so they're more like town general, so they don't pay it.
And that was an IDA property, so the IDA property,
Right.
there's exemptions. There are separate exemptions for property that has been an IDA, that it doesn't, the capital improvement exemption does not pertain to that. So we have to, Mason sent me a couple of emails coming down from the state how it's discouraging development because of
Well,
the 2% tax
it
cut.
That was about, well, that was about the pilot program, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
Now,
just read that, yeah.
So,
The chargeback, the 14%, we don't do much of their work. Why do we charge them back 14% like we charge in the rest of the department?
well, because we set it ratably throughout every fund, and we had discussed taking 3 different tiers: a tier of people who have debt, a tier of people of funds that have debt, and a tier of funds that don't have any salaries, and reducing the percentage by that.
It's gonna be changed in this budget.
Oh, we're gonna change it? Okay.
Right, so that'll be changed. We're sitting down next week to go through it. I'll have
We're not giving them any.
I'll have the administrative chargeback reduced for 2013.
I just wanna make sure.
We took
Ray,
it, sorry, we'll take it next year.
for
We're not
next
giving it back
year,
this year.
because the fund balance is gonna be brought below 13%. Obviously, we're not gonna bring it to zero, but this is, you have no
discuss-
room for error at this point.
We had discussed tiering, and looking at tiers for all of the special districts and all of the special funds like the highway fund, and which funds actually utilize town services, what those services are, and assigning a percentage to those services.
That's what he just said.
Accumulative.
Right.
So you're gonna have several tiers where the business improvement district would be tier 1 because they don't utilize any town services. You're gonna have tier 2, which would be the highway district who doesn't use the justice court, or, and then tier 3, which would be fully, 15%.
Something like that.
Finish the budget yet.
Well,
so-
we discussed this fully at length,
Yeah.
Sean, and you were not here,
No,
so
but I
I
see
just
the budget.
am reiterating it.
Okay.
Yeah, the tiers are gonna be with and without payroll, obviously, with or without debt. And then a full administrative charge back, and then highway.
When do we see the hotel and
You won't,
these building?
you won't.
Ray, I think you and I have to sit down in the assessor's office and go through the exceptions and
Be March
exemptions.
of 2013, Bob.
You may not see that. There's exceptions that, and I didn't read through the whole thing. I know that Mason had forwarded me a couple in the last week or so, that the exception, the 2% cap, whether it was by design or not by design, had has not benefited these IDAs that are trying to bring businesses into town. It's not benefited those districts if they were exempt or if they had a pilot agreement. So
That's true.
so before I say that, although your assessed value in that district is going to go up, let's say 13 or 15%, I don't know that we have an exemption to pierce the cap by that 13 or 15%. We have to follow up.
So if you
with-
build a new development and it all gets assessed, you can't exceed the 2.5% tax cap?
You typically can, but not in an IDA zone. If that building or if that property was part of IDA, then there's exceptions to it. And I'm not quite clear on what the exceptions
But
are
I
yet.
thought that the special districts were exempt from IDA,
Like I said, we need to, I think you and I
Yeah,
should
yeah.
sit down.
Special
Well,
district
that's what
has
the
to
assessors are
be
gonna have to,
I think you and I need to sit down with Mason and
Determine.
Laverne.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't have a full enough understanding to, right at this point to explain it to the board. I'd rather sit down with the assessors and understand it
All
better
right.
before I can tell you. I tried to calculate it when I got in touch with the assessor. They've been sending me information on
because
some of the problems with
Dee's
IDAs.
building was a church before, so it paid nothing, and now all of a sudden it's on the tax rolls for a while now, and we don't see that. I think it was $800 for bid taxes.
I don't know. That I don't know.
That will have to
But
go-
on the IDA,
Wow.
I don't know if the bid, then that's a question that if you find out, is the
We're not
bid
paying tax.
business improvement tax called an ad valorem tax? Because if it's an ad valorem tax, you would get paid, but if it's not an ad valorem tax, the IDA would exempt you, and I think that's the issue.
Okay.
But
Okay.
stick to your budget, that was the point.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
just before
Give me
we.
a dollar, spend 99 cents.
Just
Not a
before
dollar
we,
one.
we adjourn, I just want to tell the audience that the, Nassau County and Suffolk County sued with this MTA tax, and the judge ruled that it was unconstitutional, and now the MTA is appealing it, but we may, get that money back
That would be huge.
that we've spent on the MTA tax.
There's your
And I
pavilion.
want to thank, there was 4 towns involved in this, we weren't involved in it, and it's Nassau and Suffolk County, so I have to thank those towns and Nassau and Suffolk County for bringing the suit.
Sounds good. That's about 76,000 in the general fund, right?
And I'm budgeting that for 2013 until we know for sure.
Let's build another
That's
building.
right. That's it, see,
Because,
Yeah, right.
they're
Please don't.
appealing it, so you know, until they actually have
Until they
appealed it, I
actually-
need to make,
okay.
you know.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Can I
Okay.
get a motion to go into executive
I
session?
make a
for-
motion that we close the town
guys
board
all have
meeting
this, no?
and go into executive session to discussion of 2 litigations, Old Country Road and Founder's Path, and also personal discussion on the recreation tax receiver.
Okay. Motion?